daily soccer podcast with the Global Sports Podcast Network.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Daily Manchester United podcast. My name is Niall Hannigan, your host for this episode, and I'm delighted to be joined by Kieran McGinley. Kieran, how are you getting on?
I'm doing well, thank you, Niall. How's yourself?
Not so bad, and slightly encouraged by the potential news of Onana going out on loan. We've got a here we go from our man Fabs, but we haven't seen it confirmed across any of the major platforms and outlets that we would kind of hope to see it over the line. Our social media guys may have jumped the gun, and we're probably going to do the same. So was just flicking through online there, came across an article from Simon Stone on the BBC. A heavy shirt to wear, being Man United number one. I mean, he's not wrong, is he?
No, not at all. It's I remember vaguely De Gea's start. I know it was rocky as well, but he eventually, he grew into it. I suppose he was moulded by Ferguson those very early years before Ferguson then retired. But De Gea was making some mistakes at the start. He made some mistakes towards the end. But on the whole, at one point in his Man United career, we're talking sort of mid to late 2010s, he was one of the best keepers in the world, let alone the best keeper at United. So I think it is a huge shirt to wear. You ask the likes of Barthez and Schmeichel, some legendary goalkeepers, Edwin van der Sar coming through. You ask them all, and whilst they would have been immensely proud to be the number one for Manchester United, there is no doubt in my mind that any time they made a mistake, the magnifying glass and all was out in force. It's not an easy position to be in, goalkeeper-wise, but you're a goalkeeper for Man United and you're not performing well, you're making mistakes. I mean, the whole world's going to know about it.
Yeah, and it's a good point about De Gea. I think myself and Tallulah, when we spoke last week, mentioned about, Le Mans having David De Gea-like features potentially, but also talking about that rocky start that he had and how it did take him a while and how the manager really had to back him. And it was interesting because United were in a stage where they were ready to win now at the time, and to kind of stick with a goalkeeper like De Gea during that kind of such an important part of the history of the club where they're actually still going for Premier Leagues as opposed to now, showed a great kind of vote of confidence for De Gea. So kind of hoping that Le Mans can kind of hit the ground running in that way. But I mean, Onana came with so much promise. I mean, I think we were all really excited for the signing. You would have to be, you had Ten Hag there, who he had some experience with before. You're thinking, okay, ball playing goalkeeper. I mean, that shouldn't be a phrase, but apparently it is in the modern day. A ball playing goalkeeper that can really start our attacks appropriately, can include him in the build up play. And I mean, it was just a horrific from start to finish, really. I mean, getting chipped from the halfway line in the preseason against Lens wasn't a great start to it. It kind of started the piling the pressure onto him before the season even starts. In the article here, I think the journalist was actually speaking with Phil Jones, and Phil Jones was saying you need rhino skin to be a Man United goalkeeper, and was really kind of calling back to his experiences with De Gea and how he was able to bounce back so quickly. But even though De Gea did have rocky periods, he did eventually get over it, like you said. But I suppose we just really haven't seen that development from Onana, with just too many mistakes building up over the years.
Yeah, I mean, I'm having a look back at his, Manchester United stats. He has, in 72 Premier League games, kept 18 clean sheets. In his entire Manchester United career, he's made 102 appearances now, 24 clean sheets.
Mm-hmm.
That's not good. I mean, look, clean sheets as a keeper, you've got to have your defence in front of you, to do a good job, to get the clean sheet. However, the defence can't be there, every single time. Shots on goal happen. But it to a point, it genuinely feels like if we put Onana or Altay in goal and a shot is at them, it just feels like it's going to be a goal no matter where it is. And 24 clean sheets in his entire career at Manchester United so far is worrying. It is worrying. And the defence has got better now. And he's only had the one League Cup where, to be fair, there weren't really many shining stars in that match, let's all be honest. But I was of the volition that Onana was going to get one more year, and with the defense, the back line being improved significantly. You've got Yoro growing into the role. You've got De Ligt showing what he can do. Maguire saving our skin at least twice in the last 4 months, which is amazing. But I just think, am I surprised that he's going out on loan? Probably not. It just seems like the way Manchester United go, that if you're no longer wanted at the club, it's more you just loaned out elsewhere. It's sort of like a Chelsea tactic, except where Chelsea do it to infinitely gain value on their signings. Man United do it as a desperate attempt to be like, okay, please just have some fun, have a good time, please, and we can sell you on for something.
We just love depreciating assets. Like we're absolutely obsessed with them. Every other club seems to be able to sell, but we need to go through the initial hurdle of putting them out on loan with an option potentially to buy. So yeah, let's see. I mean, the stats that you read out, it's not too bad. But if you think back at the Ten Hag season, they actually kept a lot of clean sheets that year, but we were still really bad in one of the first seasons. And then with Amorim, it's just been all over the shop. But I think the clean sheets is one thing, and it is a skewed stat, or it can be skewed sometimes with depending on defense, depending on how bad we've been in midfield as well. But it's the calamitous errors that just ring in your ears and ring in your mind when you really think back at his tenure so far with United. And that stuff really is unforgivable for it to happen so many times. I think everyone's aware, probably seen lots of social media clips of people putting compilations together, etc. And they're growing. Those compilations are getting longer every time as the weeks go on. And as a goalkeeper, you can have a couple of them, but when it's happening and you're expecting them, you're in trouble then. And you do really start to lose confidence in your goalkeeper as a fan, never mind as a defender playing with them, which can easily unnerve the team. So, it's difficult for a team really to begin to progress as we want them to this season under Amorim when that they don't have faith in your goalkeeper, and it's a very difficult place to be in, I'm sure, as a player.
I mean, you said, felt like we kept more clean sheets last season. Actually, he kept 9 clean sheets in 2023-24 and 24-25. So his 18 clean sheets are perfectly balanced over the 2 Premier League seasons.
Yeah.
So, I mean, look, as a goalkeeper, you're not expected to make every single save. I mean, I'm going to have to look at the Golden Glove of last year to see how many, Premier League clean sheets there were. I think it was David Raya with 13. David Raya and Matt Sells with 13 clean sheets. So to have 9 clean sheets, only 4 off the eventual winners, is not that bad.
Exactly.
But, conceded 44 last season, conceded 58 in 23-24. That's what happens is, when he has a clean sheet, great. But the games he does concede in, it's a lot of goals. And you can blame that to the defence as well. You can attribute some of the blame, but your goalkeeper is your last line of defence. And also your sort of ideal keeper is able to command that back line to do what they need to do. And corners is so especially important. Free kicks, so especially important when you're the goalkeeper and you can see everything ahead of you, especially a direct or indirect free kick. You have got to be organising your defence. And if you see something that's not right, you've got to be calling the players out for it. At a corner, you need to be commanding. If the ball's coming into the box and you're going to get it, you've got to have the loudest bellow you possibly can. You've got to command the space. And, as I failed to do as a goalkeeper was even talk. That was one of the things that I sort of failed at. I think that's how I got injured a couple of times because I just
became a podcaster.
Yeah. That's how the mighty fell. No, to be honest, to fall, you've had to have some sort of rise. I just didn't rise. But I think those sort of qualities are damning if you don't have them. He's great. He's eccentric. He can push up. He can try and contribute to the play. But if he's not getting the basics of what a goalkeeper needs to be doing right, then that's why, he is conceding so many goals.
Yeah. And I mean, speaking of, conceding heavily and having some errors as well, in the article that Simon Stone has, he actually got some quotes from Tom Carroll as well, who I suppose... Roy Carroll, not Tom Carroll, the midfielder for Spurs. He's very small. I hope he never played in nets. But yeah, Roy Carroll played 110 times for United, but I think we all know him for some of those errors that he would have came across in his career.
Well, look, the Tottenham goal didn't happen, did it? So I guess you can't attribute that one.
What goal? What
goal? It never crossed the line. What are you talking about?
Exactly. So I think, if he's getting quotes saying that, he came as a young goalkeeper to United from Wigan as a 22, 23-year-old, you get the impression that Onana was very confident in his own abilities. I mean, remember that kind of interview that he had? Well, I arrived as the best goalkeeper in the world, and now I've just become bad overnight. I don't know if I would have classed him as the best goalkeeper in the world, but he was in a Champions League final and he was playing well. But sometimes you think, okay, well, you know what? Sometimes that blind confidence can be good as a goalkeeper to get over the mistakes quite quickly, but underneath that surface, it must have been affecting him, because just the amount of mistakes that we've seen is just not good enough.
You've got to have, nerves of steel. You've got to be a different type of player. You can't be, if a goal's going in, normally you're the first person people blame. Mm-hmm. Keeper should have done well. You can't get beaten his near post. Heck, even Michael Owens say, why have a wall? And then we see a couple of days later, the exact reason why you have a wall at 35, 40 yards out is to stop Szoboszlai curling over the wall. And it's also to stop anyone absolutely having a free blast at goal. You can't win sometimes as a goalkeeper, but, it's one of the toughest positions on the pitch, because if a goal goes in, the fingers point at you, regardless of whether it's your fault or not.
Absolutely, and it's up to someone else to figure out why it wasn't the goalkeeper's fault. You initially kind of go for that as the main reaction. But anyway, as we said at the top of the show, not fully confirmed. We got a here we go from Fabs. It's almost there, I'd say, just a matter of time. What we do know is United have invested in Le Mans. More than likely now going to play the Manchester Derby. I can imagine. I can't see him signing and then not being able to get in from the start. So let's see what happens. But yeah, a bit of a half close on that chapter of Onana, and seems to be following the path of every other United player in the bomb squad of going out on loan initially. So let's see what happens. But we'll take a quick break there, and we'll be back with a slightly different topic for the second half of the episode.
Your daily soccer podcast with the Global Sports Podcast Network.
Going from real football to fantasy football. If my mates are listening, they know it's my least favorite topic at the moment, because I've lost the league twice in a row now with flying colours. So we decided, GSPN Man United podcast, we know football. Let's do a fantasy football league, see how we get on. And we've come up with the really, really creative name of GSPN Man United podcast on FPL.
Look, I brought the name, it's simple, it's to the point, and everybody knows what's going on. No nonsense.
Fair enough. Is your team name, is it appropriate for the podcast? You didn't get banned by the FPL? Nope. I've heard a few people get banned over the last couple of weeks, and then it just comes up saying change name as your name of your team.
No, I didn't get any of that. Ugarte be kidding me. I did have.
Oh, my favourite player. Thanks, Kieran. Thanks.
Yes, all right. No worries. Yeah. It's all good. I had to because he was no longer in the Premier League, and more importantly, was the Man United manager. I had to retire Ten Hag, and I am still upset. 4 games in, I'm still upset. It was the best name I've ever come up with, and oh well.
That is
what it is.
That is a great name, to be fair. I think that name should live on, although he's not in the league anymore, and also out of a job. So
that's right.
That was quite a quick turnaround for him. But Kieran, any United players? Because I've got to be honest, I did not include any, because I needed to see what this calamitous team would be able to come up with over the first 2 weeks of the season.
Traitor. That's why you're 5th.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're on the cusp of Europe there. No, I've got Fernandes in there. I think he was one of the first names in the team sheet for me.
Okay.
But I think, he's got a decent amount of points. I'm still undecided whether I start him for the City game. We'll see. But he's done all right in my book. And I think, as I said, first name on the team sheet for me, I like him. And I haven't captured him just yet, but to me, he scored 14 points, which is okay. It's all right. It's not bad. I think it's only going to get better. The other player I had, in fact, I've got 3 United players in there, so I've used my allotted one, but one of them's on the bench. Sesko, who is starting now. I'm about to jump the gun.
You have Sesko in your team. When did you get him in?
The very start of the season, because I just thought, 6'4", 6'5", he'll be straight in there with goals. That hasn't happened just yet. But I'm doing an immense play here. This is a big brain moment. What I'm going to do is I'm going to sub him out, and then he's going to score 5 against City, because that's how fantasy works, right? As soon as you sub out a player, they have the game of their life. So Benjamin Sesko, if you're listening, I'm putting you on the bench in my fantasy. Do with that what you will.
You're so selfless, because you're sacrificing your own fantasy football team for the greatness and for the goodness of the Man United football team.
Who else would do that? Come on.
Yeah. An absolute martyr, honestly. So
not Tom, who's boring, top of the table, doing really well. He's on 201 points. The nearest is Sam, who's now got up into second place. He's on 170. Tom's already got a 31 point lead. We're 4 games in. This is not good. We are being cooked here.
Yeah, no.
And the worst part of it is he's just Cairns United. He's just put his surname in. That's the salt that's being rubbed into the wound here. At least Sam tried with the highs and the lows, which that's a great name. Great name. Certified great name.
It's a great name, and it really speaks volumes as well when you have Delos as Delo. So, from the highs of the player season to the lows of the season, it's been pretty poor.
Well, I'll finish off with, I've got Aiden Heaven on the bench, and I think he's just there because I think he was about 4.5 million. So I just thought, hey, I'll put him in there. In fact, he was 4 million. So I just thought I'll put him in there. He might start. He probably will start a couple of games this season. Mm-hmm. But as a cheap player to just sort of have around, I think 4 million is pretty good. And Aiden Heaven's my choice in that one. I got to ask you though. I'm just going to have a look at your team. I am noticing a very significant lack of Manchester United players. Talk me through that one, Niall.
My heart's been broken too many times, and I think I was going with your tactic of, if I forget that they exist, like when you're looking at a loading bar and you're like, if I don't pay attention to it, it'll load quicker. I think that's what I was hoping for in the United players. If I don't pick them, they'll play really well, and I'll sacrifice my FPL points. 1, United have started badly, and 2, I've had no FPL points anyway in general because I've started so badly. So that's a double whammy for me. I went so edgy with Will Rigg, who barely even plays for Sunderland. I saw a few highlights of him online and was like, this is the differential. Will Rigg does not play, just in case if anyone's interested in getting him in. But in terms of United players, Mbeumo's tickling my fancy. So he is. He's taking corners. He's playing every game. He's playing every minute of every game. He's the best player so far this month. He's won our goal of the month. Goal of the month, wasn't he the only goal he scored this month? Yeah, nice.
That's not true. He did score in the League Cup.
Okay, but in the Premier League, we've only scored 1 goal. Yeah, fair.
Yes. Okay. He's only scored 1 goal.
True. Yaro didn't get that goal against Fulham, but even though we tried to claim it. But yeah, I think Mbeumo, whatever you want to call him, I'm going to get him in. I think at some stage, probably after the City game though.
I don't know. Might be just keep him out for that one, and then he'll have a blinder. Well, Cormac, Kinder Mbeumo is his name on his team name. Great name. He's captain Mbeumo, and I think it's fair to say that's great. But apart from having Haaland up top, boring. Apart from having him up top, no one else is really scoring the business for Cormac at the moment. So we'll keep an eye on that. But Titus Bramble Select. No, talk me through that name.
Yeah, I mean, he's up there with some of the greatest centre-backs that the Premier League have seen. And it's just paying a bit of respect to the man. And I think he's been the name of my team for a long time. And I did do my team Friday afternoon at the start of the season. I was like, do you know what? This is not the time for brainstorming names. I'm not going to search names online. Never been a fan of that. So I'm going to go with a really boring name, Titus Bramble. I always wanted Titus Bramble Select. Is that the name of the team, or is it
Yes.
XI Select? Yeah. I always wanted to change a better name, but I always ran out of characters for Titus Bramble something. So yeah, that's why I've landed on that. It probably needs a bit of work. I'll look at that for next season as a bit of room for improvement.
Bit of homework to do there. I mean, our social guys, Josh has Obi-Wan Chidobe. Obi-Wan Chidobe.
Chidobe. Yeah. Okay.
That's not bad. And Alex says, "Can you hear me?"
Okay, that one's good as well.
Yeah, it's all right. It's just a strong lineup of teams, I'll be honest with you. If you had to pick the best name, though, you can't vote for your own. I think we had a poll in this one as well, but I think Sam's the highs and the lows got our sort of internal poll. It's still of that volition now?
I think so. Obi-Wan Chidobe's not bad as well. I do like that one. But I think the highs and the lows, I just can't see many other people having that. I think it's good. I think it's very good. And yeah, I mean, we've been trying a couple of puns ourselves in the titles. We're getting a bit carried away with ourselves, I think. What was the Awobi one? That's give me flashbacks to the Obi-Wan Chido Obi one. But don't Awobi about a thing was one that we had.
That was terrible.
That one
I love it.
For,
that was terrible.
Yeah, we did have the Chido Obi one.
That was terrible. I loved it though. Keep up the good work.
Anyway, plenty to play for in that. Are you a fan of the head-to-heads or the total points? Because I'm in a couple of different ones with the head-to-head and the total points leagues. I think the head-to-head keeps it a bit more interesting in case someone runs away with it. But let's see what happens in our league this year. What do you think?
I had no idea about the head-to-heads. That's just so how in tune I am of fantasy football. I'll be honest.
I can tell you haven't had the hurt that's been driving me on for years with this game, this horrible game, and how much they've changed it. I'm about to go on a rant here about fantasy football, and it's not the forum or the platform for it, but I'm here for it this evening because this game used to be so simple, and now we have chips coming out of everywhere. We can pick an assistant manager. I thought I was the manager. Now I need to pick an assistant manager at some stage throughout the season. We had enough chips last year. Now we have double the chips. You just used to log in on a Saturday morning. Oh, yeah. Also, these games on Friday evening, throwing off the whole routine of when to pick a team. Go in on a Saturday morning, pick your captain. That's all you needed to worry about. Pick your captain. Double points. Amazing. So much innovation in the game. And now we have free hits, wild cards, triple captain, best bench boost, assistant manager. There's random challenges you can do throughout the season. No, I've got a full-time job. Can't be doing this.
Well, I'm pleased to say, Niall, that it's a 12:30 kickoff is the earliest match on a Saturday. So
brilliant.
You're okay for now, then. You're okay for now.
No woke nonsense this weekend.
No, come on now. You've lost the argument now. Goodbye.
We need some Sean Dyche FPL. We need to get Sean Dyche back into the Premier League and sort after to be the product manager for the FPL app going forward. I think we just need to tone it down a bit. There's too much going on, in my opinion.
Well, that's what you think, but I'm third and you're fifth, so no.
I have so much anger. If I was first, I'd be praising the chips.
I know you would. You know who would be praising it? Tom. Because he's currently 31 points ahead. How are we going to close that down?
Yeah, it's only 3 games in. Like it's not good. It's not looking good.
But free hits. We'll have. There'll be a chance. Tom will slip up. I hope.
Kieran United, we're coming for you.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. But anyway, that wraps up the episode. Can you tell it's the international break? I mean. I knew I'd get my rant in about fantasy football at some stage this season, so I'm delighted it was coupled up on a random Monday evening, combined with Onana potentially going out on loan. So that's a great combination of an episode. Next challenge is now to come up with a pun title for this episode. So if you're disappointed by the title, apologies, but gonna have to come up with something. Anyway, Kieran, any final words about Onana, about FPL?
I not once I had Onana in my fantasy. I think to mesh the two together, I didn't have him once in there, and it seems like I will never, if I never had the opportunity before. On a serious note, I mean, I don't know. I gave him the 2 seasons. Last season was a rough season for everybody. We finished 15th, for goodness sake. No one really had a good season. So could you really put him under the microscope there? Yes and no. But I genuinely thought he was going to get one more season. I genuinely thought he was going to give one more chance from Amorim and see how it went. But no, he's not even going to get that, it seems. So, yeah, normally what happens is moments after we end the podcast, that's when it comes through. I was really lucky with Ceylon as the transfer went through, just after I'd sort of, wrapped up the first part of the transfer deadline day podcast. It popped up on my screen, and I was so lucky to be able to read it out, because that doesn't normally happen. It normally happens right after I click stop recording. But hey, no, I think it was a good experiment. I rated how the ambition was there to try something different, to bring in a keeper that was just so eccentric and in a way so un-Manchester United-like. But I think the experiment hasn't gone to plan. And when you have someone who is so eccentric and so unpredictable, it can work. But when it doesn't work, it really doesn't work. And it's a shame. I will always say, a player who doesn't quite make it, it's always a shame to see them go, even if it is on loan. I wish Andre could have done a little bit better, but that's football sometimes, and it is a cruel game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well said. Well summed up. I think we wish him all the best. See how he gets on. Hopefully he comes back and can kind of wrestle back that number 1 jersey. But let's see what happens over the next while. Kieran, thank you for joining me for this interesting episode during the international break. And make sure to follow us on the social media channels at GSPN Man United, and drop a comment to spark some debate, because we love it. And we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for listening.
Your daily soccer podcast with the Global Sports Podcast Network.